try to be objective with all of my sports coverage, and listen, Jacy Sheldon objectively should be suspended for this play. I just don't know in what world, in what universe you watch that play back and you go, that was a basketball play. She was trying to make a basketball move, especially with all the angles of this play.
The noise is getting louder. Frustration is reaching a boiling point. Across the WNBA and beyond, fans are demanding answers and accountability. After Jacy Sheldon's brutal foul on Caitlin Clark, the community has erupted in outrage. People are calling for serious consequences, starting with financial penalties. They argue that this reckless, career-threatening play crossed the line, and justice must be served for one of women's basketball's brightest stars.
Sheldon was clearly targeting Caitlin Clark most of this game, and that is, that comes from a function of, she guarded her in one-on-one situations a lot up the court, and then rolled into a lot of doubles in the half court, but there was talking and chirping all game, and for me, it was punctuated by Caitlin Clark's final play before she came out of the game, where she stares Jacy Sheldon down, essentially demonstrates, she's like, if you poke me in my eye, I will shoot it in yours. And she crosses her, finds the favorite spot, free throw line extended from the logo area, big fuck you 3 to Jacy Sheldon, yells at the Connecticut bench, yells at the crowd. Her and Jacy Sheldon come back together. Caitlin fires up the audience, basically tells Jacy Sheldon, you are a bum.
You are a bum. That message is spreading fast across social media and sports forums, as fans rally behind Caitlin Clark and call for the WNBA to take strong action. The demand is clear: find Jacy Sheldon and make it count. If the league won't protect its biggest star through better officiating, then it has a responsibility to send a clear message. The financial penalty should be steep enough to make anyone think twice before targeting Clark again.
Every time Caitlin Clark takes the court, her opponents act like they've been booked for a main event brawl. The WNBA is doing nothing about it. Opponents aren't playing ball. They're strategically ambushing her. They're trying to injure her. Opponents bring chaos. She brings composure. And what Sophie did last night is completely valid. The WNBA has to do something about this.
Jacy Sheldon appeared to deliberately poke Caitlin Clark in the eye during a defensive play, an act that could have caused serious, lasting damage to the league's most high-profile player. What made the moment even more disturbing was the smirk on Sheldon's face afterward. Fans quickly pointed out that this didn't look like a typical basketball play. It felt intentional, targeted. For many, it crossed the line. To them, this wasn't just physical, it was personal. And when the player at the center of it all is someone credited with revitalizing the WNBA, it's no surprise that emotions are running high. Next.
Jacy Sheldon. There is a legitimate hatred there. If you guys have heard, this Ohio State team, this 2023 Ohio State team hated that Iowa team. And this is Jacy Sheldon, who was Caitlin Clark's direct matchup in these games. Like I tweeted out, forget Angel, forget Dejanay. This is Caitlin Clark's one true rival.
Backlash to Sheldon's foul was immediate and intense. Within hours, social media lit up with outrage as fans demanded serious consequences, from hefty fines to even season-long suspensions. The hashtag ban Jacy Sheldon quickly began trending across platforms, reflecting just how fed up the basketball community is. Clark's supporters flooded Sheldon's Instagram with criticism, calling her bitter, unprofessional, and questioning whether she belongs in the league at all. For many fans, this wasn't just about one play, it was the tipping point after years of perceived league inaction and inconsistent protection for star players.
Funny thing about that whole Caitlin and Jacy situation last night is it's like on a if you know thing. These two have been running the friendly fade on the court for like the last 4 years. They played in college, had great battles, so I'm not surprised last night happened.
Even major media personalities have joined the wave of outrage. On The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon took a rare moment to address the situation directly, saying, "What is going on in the WNBA? Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs. Please, enough of this, please." When late-night hosts are publicly urging the league to act, it's clear the issue has moved beyond the basketball world. Meanwhile, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy didn't hold back either. He slammed Clark's on-court aggressors as jealous loser punks and suggested they belong in a local rec league where no one cares about you. This kind of mainstream media attention is the last thing the WNBA wants. Negative press that shines a spotlight on the league's ongoing failure to protect its biggest star. And when public figures from sports, comedy, and entertainment are all saying the same thing, it's no longer just a conversation, it's a crisis.
You know what? I'm just going to be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do, and I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Understand why fans are demanding such harsh consequences for Jacy Sheldon. You have to look at just how valuable Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA. The numbers speak for themselves, and they tell a story of a league that's riding almost entirely on the back of one player. Dr. Ryan Brewer, a finance professor at Indiana University Columbus, found that Clark was responsible for a staggering 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity during her rookie season. That's more than a quarter of the league's total financial success, generated by one player earning just $76,535 her first year, and the projections for 2025 are even more astonishing. Brewer estimates that Clark could generate nearly $1 billion in total economic impact for the league this season. That's billion with the B, a number that dwarfs anything we've seen in the history of women's professional basketball. When one player brings in that kind of money, allowing her to be repeatedly targeted on the court isn't just morally irresponsible, it's a financial disaster waiting to happen. The league simply can't afford to be passive anymore.
Look at it from behind or from the side. It's so obvious that she straight up leapt out towards Caitlin and got her right in the eye. And the more I try and watch it back and you try to be objective, there is no world where this was a basketball play. And yes, she was playing tough defense on Caitlin up until that point, but she leapt forward, and it's not like it's defensible where you can say she tried to get the ball, because her hand at that point was so far away from where the ball was. It's not like Caitlin was dribbling the ball up near her face. How she was not ejected for this, I don't know. The broadcast was talking about it, and that's why Sophie Cunningham even had the opportunity to hard foul her at the end. I don't know what you do, but the league's got to do something.
Even WNBA's response to the Sheldon incident has left fans stunned, and not in a good way. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul, which carries an automatic fine of just $2,000. For context, that's less than the cost of a high-end dinner in many cities. Meanwhile, Marina Mabrey's technical foul was later upgraded to a flagrant 2, resulting in a fine of just $400. But what truly has fans outraged is how the league treated Sophie Cunningham, who dared to stand up for Caitlin Clark. Cunningham not only received a flagrant 2 during the game, but was also slapped with an additional undisclosed fine from the league afterward. The message this sends: attack Clark, pay a few $100s. Defend her, and prepare for real punishment. It's completely backward, and fans know it. The anger isn't just loud, it's organized. Multiple online petitions have sprung up, demanding tougher penalties for players who target Clark and others. These petitions have gathered hundreds of signatures in just days, showing how widespread the frustration really is. Across social media, fans are calling for fines that actually mean something, many suggesting tens of thousands of dollars per offense. Their argument is simple: unless the fine amounts to a serious portion of a player's monthly salary, it won't deter anything. Some even want a portion of those fines sent directly to Clark as compensation for the constant physical punishment she's endured this season. The verdict from fans is unanimous. The current fine structure is a joke, and the league needs to overhaul it before something even worse.
Stop the fighting. He thought they meant the WNBA. What is going on? Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this. Please.
It's been a tense 12 hours since the game, and the conversation around it has gotten heated, especially in the media. Some of the takes coming out of ESPN have been, frankly, ridiculous. For example, Monica McNutt said she had no problem with Marina Mabrey's foul, which is hard to justify when you actually look at what happened. Now compare that to the reaction to Sophie Cunningham's foul. I've seen people say Sophie's play was unsportsmanlike and that it has no place in the league. But if we're being honest, her foul was a lot more connected to actual basketball than Mabry's. Sophie's was physical, sure, but it was part of the game. Mabry's, on the other hand, wasn't even related to the play. It was off-ball, unnecessary, and completely disconnected from the action on the court. That's the real issue here. We can't pretend all fouls are equal just because they're physical. Intent, timing, and context matter, and in that context, the criticism towards Sophie feels misplaced compared to the pass Mabry is getting. Next.
Listen, bring Caitlin Clark to the NBA right now, because the refs ain't gonna protect her. She only got one teammate, and that's her, who gonna do something about it. Like, yo, yesterday, that's malice in the palace activity. Call for it. That y'all should have been throwing hands all over the place. How do you get poked in the eye, then get thrown to the ground, and then you receive a technical foul? And don't none of your teammates want to step up, fight, squabble, none of that. They just looking like, yo, it's been, we know that y'all been targeting Caitlin Clark now. Now, I'm even watching, I'm like, hold on, what? Like, how are y'all letting this happen? How are y'all not protecting this girl? Now, she clearly is a superstar, right? But there's plenty superstars in the WNBA, and don't none of them get treated the way Caitlin Clark get treated. Now, y'all gonna mess up and ruin the whole numbers, your ratings, your spawn, all that, if y'all don't have Caitlin Clark in y'all's league. So y'all better start.
Has moved beyond fines. More and more fans are now arguing that Caitlin Clark deserves direct compensation for the physical abuse and targeting she's endured throughout the season. And honestly, the logic is hard to ignore. Clark isn't just another rookie or rising star, she's a once-in-a-generation talent whose presence has transformed the WNBA's visibility, attendance, and financial success. According to economists like Dr. Ryan Brewer, she's responsible for nearly $1 billion in economic impact this season alone. And yet, she's being paid just $78,000 a salary. That doesn't even begin to reflect her worth to the league. That's an ROI return on investment so absurdly lopsided, it would make any Fortune 500 executive do a double take. What's worse is that the league continues to allow her to be repeatedly targeted on the court without offering meaningful protection or consequences. Other players are committing flagrant fouls against her often off the ball, clearly intentional, and walking away with minor fines or no real accountability. This is why fans are pushing for something bold, direct financial compensation for Clark when she's the victim of such acts. One popular idea is a protection bonus system, where any player who commits a flagrant foul against Clark would be required to pay a percentage of their salary directly to her. Another proposal would have the league itself provide a separate compensation fund, recognizing that what Clark is enduring goes far beyond standard physical play and that it's tied directly to the attention and revenue she brings. It may sound extreme to some, but so is the situation. Clark is unlike any player the league has seen before. She draws sellout crowds, fuels record-breaking ratings, and brings global attention to the WNBA. If the league can't or won't protect its most valuable asset properly, the least it can do is acknowledge her value with fair, meaningful compensation for the risk she's taking every night in the league finally gaining mainstream traction. Protecting your star isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart financial move. Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's carrying the brand. Next voice. If the WNBA truly valued its billion-dollar investment in Caitlin Clark, the league's current fine structure would look nothing like what it does today. Right now, players who cross the line like Jacy Sheldon are getting off with fines of around $2,000. That's pocket change in a league where salary caps are around $120,000. It's insulting. And it sends the message that targeting the league's biggest asset doesn't carry serious cost. Let's get real. Real deterrents require real pain. Fans are demanding meaningful penalties, not petty cash fines. We're talking significant percentages of annual salaries, starting at $25,000 for deliberately targeting Clark's eyes, head, or other vulnerable areas. That's roughly 10% of a typical WNBA salary, a fine that hits hard enough to make players seriously think twice. Bear repeating.